Here with Shelly Shell Williams, DJ Kid Disco, and my friend Lisa Rose. I'm so excited for the show today. We're going to go right away to our commercial break, and then we will come back and dive into the show. See y'all in a minute.
It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cinda Williams, co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco on the Grown Folks Radio. Yo. WGFB-FM Radio. So are you ready? Yeah. How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the Wacky Waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the Wacky Waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com, then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Motel 6's new improved website lets you book a room and save more for what you travel for faster than ever. Even faster than you can find your keys, which you swore were right on the little hooky thing by the garage door where they always are, and we can land a robot on a comet, but we can't keep keys from disappearing. Oh, here they are. Left them in my jacket. Don't you hate that? I'm Tom Bodette for the new improved Motel6.com, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, who we are, what we miss, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Can the vaccines give you COVID-19? You cannot get COVID-19 from a vaccine. Why should I get vaccinated? Protecting yourself also helps protect the people around you. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
Hi, this is Cinda Williams, and I am so blessed to tell you about a new book on survival called Faith, Failure, Success, Volume 2, Surviving the Storm. Erica Summers, Martha Chavez, Latricia Rice, Nicole Reed, Vanya Hudson, and I have come together to share our deepest challenges and how we overcame. Please check it out on Amazon.com and wherever books are sold.
Amazon is hiring near you. Earn a competitive wage and start as soon as 7 days. No resume or experience required. Health and safety are a top priority with all of Amazon's roles and sites. Amazon is taking precautions in their buildings to keep people healthy. Go to Amazon.com/apply. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
WGFB-FM Radio. So are you ready? Yeah. How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
PPC, 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 yeah. PPC, PPC, CPC, yeah. Join me so we can grow together. Conversation, get that healing. Let them know what they're missing. listen. Share with your best friend. Tell them come hear this. Yeah. Don't you dare miss your blessing. These powerful lessons. True confessions. Yeah. PPC. Yeah. A powerful tool for you and me. PPC. Yeah. A powerful tool for you and me. PPC.
All right, all right. Welcome to the PPC Radio Show. Shelly Shell Williams is here, DJ Kid Disco, and my girl, Lisa Rose, who you can see is at work. Hi, school counselor. So we're going to dive into your story, but before we do, we're going to do our first segment of the show. What could it be? Shelly Shell, take it away.
Are you ready, Lisa Rose? Are you ready? It's all about you. It's our true confession segment. And you have to give us a true confession, and then we have to follow suit. So I know you watched the show before. So
I have.
So are you ready for your true confession?
Yes.
All right. What's up?
Are you going to ask a question? Oh, you just want me to tell you. Gotcha. True confession. What's the topic?
Whatever you want it to be. It could be silly, it could be funny, it could be serious, whatever you want. What came in your mind first?
True confession. Okay. True confession.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I don't know. A true confession. Okay, true confession. I don't know if all of you know, but Cinda knows that this year is my first year at a high school as a high school counselor. So I've had elementary, I've had middle. This is my 9th or 10th, my 10th school year. So I'm at this high school for the first time. Know very little about high school. So right now is registration, and I snuck away to be here. I mean, I told some people like, hey, I've got to step away for a while. I'm scheduled this radio program I have to be on, and so it was before I started working here. So, figure it out kind of thing. But everybody here has been treating me so absolutely wonderfully nice. Like I came from a school with mostly members, if you know what I mean. And now the school is not mostly members. Mm-hmm. But it is also only 2 miles away from my house, which is also tremendous. Because I was making a commute before for like 40 minutes a day. I mean, like round trip was an hour and a half. So they interviewed me. It all happened in such a way. And I was telling Cinda about this thing that I do about writing a letter. So I wrote this letter to God about what I wanted or what was coming about and the things that were needs in my life. And I put it in my Bible on Psalm 23. So true confession, everything that I wrote in the letter is now.
What? Yes.
Got the money I wanted. I'm 2 miles away from home. I'm in a high school, and these people treat me like they all know that I'm in a learning curve, but they treat me like I'm a beast already.
Boom.
Members of our club, DJ Kid Disco.
I don't know why you didn't get that.
Black folk, baby. Black folk.
He didn't get the members part?
No.
He didn't get it. I'm like,
oh, he didn't think I was black, I guess.
She's black. Well,
I didn't get to see. I'm such a Negro devil's advocate. I didn't get to.
That's a good question. Do you consider yourself black or just biracial?
Well, I really just consider myself Black, but I do, I don't, of course, disparage my mother by not including the fact that I am biracial. I'm biracial, but in terms of my culture, my living, my belief system, my worldview, I'm a Black woman.
She said that with pride. I'm a Black woman. She's like, listen, get it twisted. I'm a Black woman.
I have a t-shirt that says lightly melanated, hella Black.
Yes, lightly melanated, hella Black. I love that.
Yeah, I like that.
That's real. That's real right there.
Wow, I love that. So your true confession is that everything that's happening in your life right now is what you wrote the letter to God. Basically, it's a prayer to God, asking Him and putting your petition before the Lord and saying this is what you want. And you wrote the letter, put it in the Bible. So up next is Cinda. You have to follow suit. Come on now.
Well, Lisa and I have been acquainted for a while, and she was with me when I was going through a really rough time, like a year and a half ago. And she told me about this, and she suggested that I do it. And so now this is my second time doing it. And the first time I did it, it happened. It was basically the first time was about freedom. It was about freedom. And this last time was last week. And I forgot about it because I've been so overwhelmed with the instant happenings. I mean, literally, like for instance, I was really confused about a certain situation. I was very confused, and I was like, I don't understand why I'm continuing to get these messages. I'll share. It was basically, there is a person from my past that, won't go away, and so I was praying about it. And so when I wrote this prayer, that was a part of it. And then I had a dream. I had a very, very vivid dream that showed me that it wasn't what I thought it was. It was something else, something totally so beyond my understanding. I didn't know that I was holding on to something from my past. And it was so cool because in the dream, so I realized what my issue was and what I had not forgiven. But then also my dad was in my dream, and my aunt, who is still living, by the way, but she really lives in spirit. She's there. She's more there than here. And they both were there. And I knew in the dream that they weren't there because no one else saw them, but they were there. And it was the first time since my father passed that he let me know, I'm with you. I got you, and my aunt, it was really cool. So thanks to Lisa, that is a blessing everyone should do, write it out.
And can I say, for me, the writing it out is about being able to focus and put specifics down on the paper. Because if you're like me, my brain is just always going and working. And so I could be in the middle of the prayer and then it's like, oh, there's a bird. Or I need to do this. So to keep me focused, I write it down. And my godmother is the person who told me, she didn't say write a letter, but she was like, if you're under attack or somebody's bothering you, you write this down and you write what it is down on Psalm 37, and you put it in the Bible on Psalm 37. And if there's something you need or something you want in your life, you write it down and put it on Psalm 23. Well, I took it to the next level with the letter. So the letter is my personal conversation to God in either of those cases. And I can tell you every time I've done it, whether it's been somebody in my way or somebody trying to take me down or whatever, or the blessing, it's always worked. It's always worked.
I can testify too. It does. I mean, like I said, they have it so fast. Woo! I mean, it's like boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, like open doors, understanding, clarity. Just wow.
And there are times, like you'll say, if you'll just forget, you'll forget about it being in the Bible. And then when you go back later, like a year, 2 years later, and you look through the letters that you put in there and you see what's come to pass. And and where those people are or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool to see how God is at work.
And the thing is, I'm not at home and I don't have a hard copy of my Bible with me. I use my phone. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So all I did was once I did the prayer, then I prayed over it on the scripture on my phone. And I just prayed over it and then I put it in my journal and left it alone.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
You also, there should be, I don't know what Bible app you're using, but there's one Bible app I know that you can write notes, like you can write it in there. So
yeah, YouVersion Bible. I write my prayer every single day in the YouVersion. First, I was writing in the book. I got books and books and books.
Right.
But then I was like, when I found out the YouVersion Bible has a spot where you can put prayers, and it's just for you. You don't have to share it with anybody. But if you wanted to, you could. But I felt like that's because now my prayer books are in my house. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Anything can happen. Anybody can really see my prayers, but I have never prayed on it on this particular scripture, putting it in the air, but I sure will because I want some specifics. I want some specifics.
You heard SMART goals.
Yes. I have.
So write it out. Write your SMART goal out and put it right where you want it to be.
But yeah, I don't have anything but you know what? I realized when I went to Florida, I realized that I said, your gifts make room for you. And people think it's TV and media, but I was in Florida because of my social media skills. And that's how I was there. I was in the room. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm not only just in a room, I'm in a room with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who wrote the book, Think and Grow Rich, the Black Choice, multimillionaire, professor at Clark Atlanta, Shirley Davis, all these.
Atlanta.
Clark, yeah, he's he's the professor. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the room with almost like the superstars of the speaking world. Like there's the speaking world and there's the superstars who are multi-millionaire. There's your Michael Jacksons and there's your Oprahs of the speaking world. And I was with them and I was like, God, just my life. I'm here. Oh man, God, you just put me in there. So I'm believing God for my next. So, but I want some specifics because I'm just always saying, I'm always asking, people always ask, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know what I do. I do TV, I do radio. I don't know, but really what I do on a living, to make a living, is social media. But I don't know why I don't hype it. I don't be like, yo, this is what I do. Hey. I don't know. But my other truth confession is my eyeglasses are broken. So if they're crooked, please don't bust on me. Sorry, they are just broken. The whole side is broken off. I just got them sitting here because I like the way they look.
Well, you can't tell, and you look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you, yo. They are seriously broken. But Disco, come on now, get your praise on. Let's go.
I usually come with the funny stuff, and
you can be funny on this. What prayer?
But today is not funny.
Oh.
I have this constant dream that I'm out and about, but I'm on SEPTA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always either the concourse downtown, the where the R trains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Penn
R7
Center.
or this or that.
Penn Center Station, either there or it starts at Alany Terminal. But I always get lost. Like I can't remember what bus to take or how to get home or whatever. And the wife is always, when I finally do make it home, like, I wasn't doing nothing. I truly could not remember how to get home. But it's here lately, I've been having the same dream, but I'm not lost anymore.
You're not lost in the dream?
No, I know where I'm going.
Okay.
And the face changes.
Your face?
No. So my true confession is I'm scared to ask for clarity because I'm scared what the clarity is going to mean.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because I know within the next 6 months, my whole life is about to change drastically.
Mm.
Where I live, where I work.
Mm.
Yeah, I better shut up before I say too much.
But with clarity, if you pray and you ask and you write it down with clarity, what's going to happen will make more sense. Don't you won't you rather have direction as opposed to aimlessly wandering around? What if God just says, I want to give you the direction you need, keep you from making mistakes, keeping you from going the wrong places? Because we all have made choices that landed us in the wrong place. Like, think about it. So what if God could give you that? I know I want clarity. I want extreme clarity, even if it means heartbreak, heartache. I want extreme clarity because I want to go in the direction God wants me to go in. And his direction is better than our direction. And what if he could save you from something? What if he could save you from something? Even if it's not something you want, even if it's something you're grasping on, and he's saying, I'm telling you this. What if? What if? Write that prayer. Write that letter. Psalms 23.
Yeah. And let me
It's
say,
a Bible. In case you don't know what it is, it's a Bible. Like it's like a book, right? And it's called
Negro.
and it's called the Bible, right? And
Negro.
if you don't have a Bible, you can download one on the
You know what?
on the phone.
Lighten the mood, Shelly Shell. Lighten
I think he's going to get his Bible right now, y'all.
If he get a Bible, I'm gonna buy you lunch one day. I promise you. If you come up with a Bible, I'm gonna buy you lunch. I promise you. If you come up with a book, it better not just be a book. It better be a Bible. I'm talking about like a Bible, Bible, not just a book.
I want to piggyback on what you said about the clarity and guidance, and about us making choices that ended us up when we thought was a horrible place. And it may be true, but it is my theory and my belief that nothing just happens. Nowhere that you end up is, you may have made a choice that was not the best choice, but you still gonna end up where God wants you to be. Because all things, not just all good things, all things work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So there is no such thing as getting in the wrong place without it turning out to be something good for you. Or without, whether that be a lesson to learn or whatever. It's to help you grow, to stretch you, to challenge you, to grow your faith, to grow your prayer life, anything. Like, there's no way in the world I would be in Indiana if it was not for God. I left Atlanta to come to here? No. A little town called Anderson that I'd never heard of before? No. But I'm here. And I'm making the best of it. And then whatever he has next for me, we'll do that. But right now, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm firm on that. I'm sure of that. Even though it's not a comfortable place for me, even though it's not where I think I want to be. You know, like you said, Shelly, whatever is his will for me, not what I want. It's not always about him giving me what I want. It's about me working toward being in his perfect will and wanting what he wants for me.
Absolutely. Definitely want what he wants. I ask every day, my prayer 100% is, God, I want your perfect will, not your permissive will, but your perfect will for my life. And oh my gosh, it's this rapper. Cindy, you probably would like him. It's a rapper, Christian rapper. I saw him on TikTok. You got to check him out. His name is Keirion, or Keir. I don't know how you would say it.
I think I've seen him. I think I've seen him.
You think I've seen him? And he had this line that said, every time I elevate, the devil trying to bring me back down. I was like, that's what happens every time. Every time I'm elevating, somehow the devil just be like, here's sickness. you're tired. You can't do this. You know, he just keep pulling you back down. It'd be like,
And that's when you know you're right where you're supposed to be, because if you wasn't where you were supposed to be, the devil wouldn't care. The devil wouldn't be in your.
But I think that the writing of the letter is more for us than for God, because God knows what we need. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to do that for God. It just shows our faith that we do that, and we believe enough that we're going to receive or be blessed or whatever by this action that it happens. But the thing with DJ Kid Disco that I want to say is your dream, just the dreams that you're having now. Oh, and there's his Bible, amen.
I owe you lunch.
She owes you lunch.
Oh,
DJ
I owe
Kid
you
Disco.
lunch, and you got it, brother. I'm just surprised you got a Bible. No, I'm just playing.
But one of my gifts, one of my family gifts, is interpretation of dreams, and I'm not going to get into any details with you, but I got that right off. But
Yes, you are at a later time.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it, but I will say this: it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Where you are now is better than where you were before. And we'll talk about it at another time. But we're going to get into what time is it? Let's see. We got 4 minutes. DJ Kid Disco, you think you can take us to commercials so we can just get that out of the way? Or
And
do we
then
want
you
to
can mute the commercials, because somehow they're picking it up as copyright. If you could, they're muting the show. Something they're picking up as copyright. Don't know what it is. It was the shows have been partially muted because of copyright.
That's the first time.
That's that is a first.
It is.
Maybe they're getting even harder. Wow. So we'll always
there was no music
if we need to.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly was. I just wanted to let you know
that means that they're not live we're not live anymore.
No, they're live. It just partially mutes the playback.
Okay. Well, let's skip the commercials. How about that?
No.
That way we won't have to deal with them right now.
And you can play them. Just mute them like you did last time.
Yeah, we got permission on the station. I have to play them on the station. So
okay, well let's play them, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Lisa's life.
Oh, that's great.
Lisa's life.
It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cinda Williams, co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco on the Grown Folks Radio.
All right. So, Shelly, is anybody talking online?
Yes, everybody's talking. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the start. Sorry, my voice is still not right. James Patterson, good afternoon. And then he said, God is good. Congratulations, Lisa.
Thank you.
Malik True said he's watching and listening. And he said, hey to everybody. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Cinda. Hey, Jelly. Hey, Lisa. He said the power of faith pushes us beyond our bounds of self-doubt. That's from Malik Truth. Paula is watching. You know Paula. She said, hey. Malik said, this is a good controversial topic here. What about that pastor that got robbed in his church? Did y'all see that? You didn't see that? The video is all on allhiphop.com, but there was a pastor, he was in church, right? And he's in the middle of preaching, hey, and then the gangsters or thugs, whoever you want to call them, the robbers came in with masks and guns and robbed him in the church. And so apparently they ended up with all his jewelry and stuff. He had like over 400,000 worth of jewelry on him.
The preacher?
Well,
the preacher. But this apparently
that sounds like a lesson to me.
Ooh, lesson. Apparently this preacher was a preacher who preached for Biz Markie's funeral, or somebody two famous hip hop old school hip hop funeral. I can't remember which one it was, but yes, he was robbed at gunpoint, and it was being live streamed, so the live stream caught it. So it was being, So as it was happening, it was being live streamed. But I mean, the pastor, he was preaching, and then when they came in, he's like, all right. And he got down to the ground, and they're telling everybody, don't move. And I was just like, in my head, I was thinking, oh, is this real or not? But apparently it was real. It was definitely a real thing. So that's what Malik said. Harold Reed Jr., what's going on? He said, hey, I met him in Florida. So shout out to everybody I met at the FTX conference. They are definitely the most amazing human beings in the world. So yes, who else is watching? Sadina's watching, but yeah, you'll see it. If you go to allhiphop.com, you'll see the actual church took the footage down, but of course the people
it was too late.
The people that know how to get it, they get it.
Yeah, it's too late. Once it's out there, it's out there. Yeah, I really believe in that God wants us to be abundant, and sometimes God might take us down a path of lack just so we can learn to be grateful for the abundance. But wearing how much money's worth of jewelry at church ever, you know what I'm saying? It just, to me, that, like the Pope, the new Pope, that was something I really liked about him. He was like, I don't need all that fancy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Pope of the people. And once a pastor is not a pastor of the people, and he's wearing jewelry that's worth more than his congregation's yearly salaries, maybe a situation like that might be a teachable moment. Not that I'm judging him, like I said, I believe in God loves us and wants the best for us. But to me, that's on the line of boastfulness, to wear $400,000 worth of jewelry.
For everyone, 24/7, 365. It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cinda Williams, co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco on the Grown Folks Radio. Yo.
Well, it is rare. Welcome back. It is rare that our True Confessions takes us into a half an hour conversation. But that time it did. So we want to dive into your life, Lisa. There's a whole bunch that we could talk about, but I think I really want to get into you now. Okay. Your job, what you're doing. And by the way, if you did not hear the podcast, please check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, well, not wherever, but where most podcasts are found, and listen to this amazing interview that Lisa shared so much of her life with. She's an amazing woman. But I really want to, because it's a universal conversation, talk about the children today and what's going on with them mentally. Mm-hmm. You would know more than most.
Yeah. Was that a question, or you just want me to?
I just want you to talk about it.
Well, it seems that I heard this a while back, like maybe 5-6 years ago. I heard someone say that all of the elementary school kids that were coming up, like at that time I was in the middle school, so it was like all the kids that were coming up, they said like every year they were getting, behaviors were getting worse and worse, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I thought, at the time I was thinking, I don't know how much worse it can get, but truly it has borne out that that it does seem that behaviors are getting worse and worse. I do think that's a number of reasons. It's funny because when I was kind of in my prayer time last night, I was talking to God about that, about how you hear people say things about, back in the day it was better, or this, that, and the third. And I was thinking that, was it really better, or were the issues different? It seemed better because we didn't talk about it not that it didn't exist. I do feel that in terms of our parenting, if you grew up a certain way, I know, Cinda, you've talked about your dad was a disciplinarian, and my mother was a disciplinarian. My stepfather was a disciplinarian, and to the extreme at times. And I think what we're finding is the pendulum has swung from way over to I'm going to about half kill you to I'm never going to hit my child, no matter what they do. And then the child who never got a spanking ended up in prison because he can't listen to nobody, can't take instruction, has no structure, no purpose, no path. And maybe that's because his parents didn't know how to give. I mean, because I believe that people do the best they can, right? I mean, we do the best we can. We don't keep the good ones at home and send the bad ones to school, right? You know? So if we're not equipped, and I know I've said this a ton of times before too, and I may have said it on the show, I'm not sure, but if you go, when you're 16 or 17 and you go get your driver's license, you have to have a class. You have to study a book. You have to take a test. To become a school counselor, I had to go to school. I mean, I had a gift that God had already given me, but in order to get a job in that field, I had to get an education. I had to take some tests. I had to get a license to become this person. So you go out, you meet some guy, you think he's awesome, you guys hook up, you get pregnant, you have a baby. You ain't had no training. You have no good examples of what that looks like, perhaps. You have no spiritual foundation because maybe your parents didn't have any spiritual foundation. So as we continue to go through this life, every generation, we're seeing less and less people with any moral compass. People get on social media and TV and say whatever they want to say. They hide behind the First Amendment right, and it doesn't even have to be the truth. Like there should be something wrong with that. Like if you're going to just get on TV and say whatever you want, it should at least be the truth, right?
Should be.
So I just think our world is it's gotten twisted.
So basically, the First Amendment is not being comprehended properly because though you have the freedom of speech, you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater.
Facts.
And that's the part that people conveniently forget.
Sure. And then we have people who say, well, there wasn't a fire. And I can say what I want to say. And then they're not held to account, even though we have laws in the Constitution that says that. They just do what they want to do now. And people, because of money and status, job, aren't held accountable. I mean, I'm sure you could name a list of people who have done things that were never held accountable. I could name a list of people off the top of my head who've done things, said things that were never held accountable and caused tremendous damage to our lives, to our government, to our democracy. You've got one person who sold a big lie. Over 30 million people have bought in.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're with high school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sure the mindsets, especially the seniors, are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
These kids nowadays, though they're removed but involved in the same in the same sense, because a lot of these kids, and I'm gonna say 25 and younger, all they know is Obama and Trump. They don't know the Bush years. They don't know the Clinton years.
Right.
All they know is Black Lives Matter. They don't know about when we was getting our ass whooped just walking down the street.
Right.
So how do you, though you come from, and going back to the podcast, you come from where things are totally different, and now with this era, there is no such thing as white or black.
But to your point, I feel like they know it. You said you're getting the butt with going down the street. They know a different kind of terror. Now these kids are facing being terrorized by their own people, by their own kids. They're being terrorized. Like, it's not even safe at times in certain areas where they're not even feeling safe with their own people now. So we're talking about the presidents, but look at what's going on with our kids. Like they're facing stuff in schools, going to school, coming from school, being shot, going to school, being shot, coming away from school. They're being hurt in so many different ways. We got back in the day, not me, but our ancestors got kicked by the other folks, and now we're getting kicked by our folks sometimes.
And I guess that's where I was going with it. Like, the mindset is totally different now. So how do you, though you come from a different era or a different way of thinking, these kids today are totally different. Their way of thinking is just,
their thinking is different. What they're going through is different. I mean, we had bullying, but it was a different type. It was just like, all right, we're going to fight. It's going to be a fight. It wasn't, hey, we're going to jump you, we're going to shoot you. It's a whole different mindset. They have to be. It's a whole different mindset. But Lisa's school that she's in is a little different. It's a I don't know. I guess she's allowed to say it, but it's a different type of school. It's a more structured type of school, high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I, as y'all know, and I've talked about it before, I was in that, while Sophia was in school, I was in school. And being a substitute, you really get a picture that's different than even the teachers, because you're just thrown into a room, nobody knows you most of the time, and nobody has any respect. And I worked in schools where they were poverty stricken, they barely had desks. And I've worked in schools where they were pristine and fancy and they had everything that you could ever dream of. The kids were the same. Okay, there was no difference between those kids. The kids.
So is that the kids or the parents?
Well, it always goes back to the parents. I'm just talking about right now how it's bigger. It's much bigger than even class or financials. There's a mental disturbance with so many people right now, and I think it goes back to this what Lisa was talking about. People having children that aren't ready or may never be ready to have children, so they really don't have a clue on how to prepare them for the world, and the world starts in school.
It's interesting.
And I wasn't trying to be critical of it. I'm sorry. I
no,
wasn't
it's
critical
what
of
you said.
I'm just saying that I think back, and I'm sure all of us have children. I think, except Shelly, you don't have children, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. When you're pregnant, or when you are bringing your first child into the world as a mother or a father, if you don't have a clue what you're doing, it's on the job training.
Kids don't come with an instruction manual.
They do not come here with an instruction manual, and you're just flying by the seat of your pants, honestly.
And they're different. They're all different.
Every child is different, and you could have the perfect upbringing, or what some would think is a perfect upbringing: loving family, no financial problems, going to church, any of that stuff. And you can still, your kid can still turn out not optimum.
Mm-hmm.
Not optimum.
Shooting up the high school.
Not
So
anyway.
so as a school counselor, what are you able to do? Because I know, like, if we have a therapist, we can go to our therapist and talk our whole heads off and get some answers. So the kids come to you as a counselor. What are you able to do? Do you help them solve the problem like a therapist, or are you just there to listen to their problem?
I as a counselor, for me, I can only speak for me. I do whatever I can, if I'm able, within the realms of my possibility, to help a student. If the downside of the school counselor is that you don't have the time. You know, if I got 300 kids, I don't have the time to sit down and have an intensive therapy session. So if I find that your problem is bigger than what I can help you with in the time I have, then yeah, I'm going to refer you to someone who can spend time with you. Now, that doesn't mean you will stop seeing me, or that you have to stop seeing me. It just means that you'll have additional help. You'll have additional help. We all need help. You know what I mean? We all have, that's why we have friends. And, you know, if you're like me and you've had the most dysfunctional family you could think of, you can't talk to them. You can't talk to them. Well, I mean, you can, but the advice you're going to get might not be too sound. You know what I'm saying?
So how are you able to make it from a dysfunctional family? I know we can't get into so many details, but your household was basically was very dysfunctional. You had a lot. You went through a lot of stuff. How did you make it out to become who you are today? And are you able to use that to show them how you can come out?
100%. And it's that's a great question. And Cinda asked that question when we were doing the podcast. And what I would say is, we were talking about God earlier, strategically placed lots of women throughout my life who poured into me where my mother couldn't. Then I had 10 years of therapy at some point in time, because I ended up in a relationship with my son's father, who turned out to be a dual dependent addict. I'm not going to get into his business, and then he liked to hit people. And those people were me at the time. And literally, we were court ordered to therapy. We were court ordered. Because we loved each other, you know. So when the police came and we go to court, and it's like, well, what do you want to happen? Well, I don't want to break up, but I don't want him to hit me anymore, you know. You know, so we got court ordered to counseling, and that worked for a while. He ended up relapsing and, you know, back to his same old thing, but I stayed on with the therapy. So about 10 years of that. And my therapist literally pulled me out of this crazy relationship with a crackhead, because he literally had manipulated me and brainwashed me to think that I couldn't have anybody any better. Like he was the best I was ever going to get, you know. And she pulled me out kicking and screaming. Really? I mean, because I was like, no, you know, like in my mind, if we could just fix him, it would be all right. Because he was good. When he was good, he was good. But when he was bad, he was all the way bad. But after a while, I had to start asking myself, like, what is wrong with this? You know, like, what is wrong with you? And I didn't mean that, again, in a critical, condescending, put me down way. It was an epiphany moment. Like, what is it about me that drew this type of person into my life? When I was dating pro ball players and musicians and this and that, how did I get him? Like, what was it about me that drew him in? What was it about me that thought that he was the best I could get?
And imagine that's what the children think.
Yeah.
That's what when they have, let's say they have all kind of money and everything is okay that way, but they never get a nod. They never get a word. They never get a hug. They never get a kiss. They never get an I love you. Can you imagine the thoughts? Because kids naturally blame themselves for everything. I did something wrong. I did something wrong. So when they're not getting that love and whatever it is, and they go out to live, that's when you draw the man that does what he does, or the woman,
right,
in certain cases, that does what she does, or that's when that happens, because you think that you may not consciously think so, but subconsciously and inside you think this is all I'm worth, you know.
Well, or you get with my situation, he was fine as all get out. I mean, the Black Marlboro man, college educated, Morehouse College, parents married until death do us part, for real, for real. I had never seen anybody in my life who had not been divorced. So in my framework of what was successful and good, he met that criteria. Had a good job, you know. So for what I thought was important, because I didn't know what was really important. When somebody would say, you know, well, what are you looking for in a man? Well, I'm looking for the total package man. Well, what's the total package man look like?
I had the total package man too, and he kicked my behind, okay? Not literally, insidiously.
Right. So he wasn't the total package man.
Not at all.
Right.
But because I didn't know what I was looking for.
Right.
Because I had no role models for that, I ended up where I ended up, and still working through that stuff. But let me see.
But isn't it that when you say like when you meet the Black Marble man, isn't it those the ones who are the ones who they love you extra hard, right? It's like, so you have this ball player and he's amazing. You have this, but they don't love as hard as the one who has the issues. It's like the one who has the issues, let's call it issues. They extra love you, but I love you. They drip you with this love, which is false. Of course, we know it's false, but they drip you with the love, and it's like this extra love, and you feel like this is the one, because the other ones, they don't need as much, so they're not as dripping with love. It's the ones who need so much that they're trying to, they love the hell out of you, basically.
I think for me, and maybe for many others, if you can't define what love is, then your idea of what love is skewed. You're looking through a cracked lens. You know, you're looking through the rose, not just the glasses are rose colored, but they're cracked. You know, there's cracks in your lens. You can't see well. So you are taking what society says is a good man or love, or what your family says. You know, I was telling somebody today, my grandmother, she was super cool and she was the wisest person I ever knew. And she was, I had my Black grandmother, she was like a girlfriend, you know what I mean? She was cool, she was hip. And then my white grandmother, she was the demure, sweet, you know. So Black grandma was like, shoot, if he can't do nothing for you, you don't need him. You can do bad by yourself. You don't need no man help you do bad. Love don't love nobody. That's what she'd say. Now my white grandma would say, well, you shouldn't take those kinds of gifts because, you know, they're going to be looking for something. And I'm like what? You know, like I'm clueless. Like, what do you mean? He just gave me a gold necklace. What are you talking about? You know, he's taking me on a trip, you know? And my grandmother was like, yes, she's going on a trip with so-and-so. She's going to have a good time. White grandma was like, I don't know. So I would say to answer part of your question, Shelley, was that I also had grandmothers. Like my parents weren't great, but I had grandmothers. And I had a granddaddy before he died. So I had these women that God would just dump into my life, men, you know. I made some not great choices along the way, but you know.
And that's the hope for the children today, that they get some Lisa Roses, you know what I mean? They get some Shelly Shells, that mentoring. They get some DJ Kid Discos guiding. They get some me's giving a word of hope.
Right.
And I think that we all have to be a tribe. We have to be proactive with all kids, if you have them or not, because if we don't,
They're
not
the
quite
future
sure
of
where we're going.
I was gonna say they're the future of our nation. And if we can't, the Bible says some plant, some water, and he gives the increase. So if we're not planting and watering, then I don't know what we're gonna end up with.
We're gonna end up with some deserts, okay?
It's gonna be scary. What it's gonna be. I mean, it's already scary. Life
well,
is
we have bypassed our time for our funny segment. So we'll save that for next week.
Nah, ain't nothing funny about the day.
Nah. So
I hope it was enlightening at least. I hope it's not.
No. We never know where things are gonna go, and that's the way we like it.
Okay.
That's why we're flexible and we get it done. So
and we learned that you have a Bible and you know what it is. Oh my God. Like we learned that. Oh my God.
Negro, I was raised in the church.
Yes, he was.
As confusing as it was, because it was Episcopalian, but we black folks, and I've never. At the time, my mom was a Black Panther in an Episcopalian church. Explain it. I don't know, but anyway.
Well, we're at the end, so let's Lisa.
Yes.
I don't know if you want friends on social media or you have something you want to share. Maybe
Can
somebody
I
else
ask one more
wants
question before we go? Lisa, listen.
Yes.
So as a you're a school counselor, do you have what you do outside of that? Do you want your own practice as I don't know if those things work together as a therapist? Yeah. Are you an entrepreneur spirit outside of being a school counselor?
I do have an entrepreneur spirit, but I have not come to the realization of which direction and what I want to do with that. When I was in school, there was lots of things I wanted to do. I wanted to have a group home for teen pregnant women to come and live. You know what I mean? Like,
we might need that now.
So they could have health, like they could have health and therapy and somebody to cook for them and school and just all the things that our young teen mothers don't really have if they don't have support. And sometimes the support they have at home really isn't the best support, honestly. So I kind of had wanted to do that for a while, and there's a lot of things I want to do. I just got to get quiet long enough to hear. But
write a letter.
This is what I'm
write a letter.
Where I'm at for right now. But maybe a podcast someday. I just don't know. We'll just see. Yeah. Right. Maybe sometime. This has been nice. Kind of break me into into this world of online and telling a story and a truthful story, an autobiographical story. And hopefully some people will be helped. Somebody might say, hey, if she overcame or if God delivered her from that, there's a chance for me,
I think that is a for sure. I think that's a for sure. Thank you so much for coming on. Shelly Shell, do you have anything that you want to share?
No, follow me on Instagram at Shelly Shell.
Mm-hmm. All right, DJ Cadisco.
I'm gonna give a real shameless plug.
Mm-hmm.
listening to Lisa Rose. For those of y'all that want to start a podcast and have no clue what you're doing and you just don't have the time or just don't feel like it or whatever. And both of them girlies right there can vouch for me that I do great work when it comes to the whole podcast scene. So if you want to get into a podcast, you want to do a podcast, but you don't feel like doing it or you don't know how to do it, or I can either teach you how to do it for a price.
Absolutely. It's all for a price. Yes, indeed.
Or I can do it for you for a price. And I'm going to put Girlie down there on the spot. I do her podcast every week.
Every week. So y'all check out DJ Kid Disco. Grown Folks Radio is how you contact him. And I have a few things I want to quickly say. PPC Experience, please check it out on wherever you can get Audible books, including Audible and Amazon. I don't want to talk about it. Check it out, PPC Experience. Also this week, I have my sister MC Lyric coming on, and I'm very excited to have her because we got some nitty-gritty conversations out of that one. And it's going to be a fun show next week, so come back next week. And then also, I'm on TikTok. You guys follow me everywhere, please. Follow me, share. I'm building this stuff, and I have a new show that I'm working on for YouTube. So you are a part of my life. So please come along on this ride. All right. Anybody else got something to say before we say goodbye?
I will say this. Next week is going to be so interesting. We got to tack another 30 minutes onto next week's
yeah. So I don't know. We might do it on Kid Disco's line just in case if you got to go, Shelly should go. So
it got deep.
That should be fun.
Okay, cool.
Good, because it got real deep before, during, and after the podcast recording.
Yeah. She's got a lot to say, and I can't wait to hear it. All right, y'all. Well, thank you everyone that listened in. God bless you. Please share this radio show with all your friends and tell everybody that you know to come and support us because we feel like we're in the healing business. And thank you, Lisa, again for doing it every
for
day.
having me. It was a blessing to be invited, and I truly appreciate it so much. And anytime you'd like to have me back, just let me know.
All righty. God bless you all. That's a wrap.
Thank you for watching.